With the start of the new Premier League season just around the corner, if you're anything like me, I'm sure you're spending a lot of your free time tinkering with your FPL team to make sure it's as good as it can possibly be for game week 1 before forgetting all about it because you didn't do very well and just letting it do its own thing for the rest of the season. But that got me to thinking, how would my FPL team do if I put them in Football Manager? So, of course, that's exactly what I did. This is my FPL team. I have an FPL League as well. If you want to join my FPL League, I'm sure Editor Chris is putting the code to join somewhere on the screen now. Maybe he's making it spin. That would be cool if the code was spinning. It's what a real top-tier editor would do. But this is my team. We're not here to criticise my FPL team. I fully acknowledge you'll all have your opinions on why my team's not very good. I'm not very happy with my goalkeepers or my bench or starting 2 Brighton players either. But you know what? Look at all these lovely attackers I've got. It works really well for FPL, theoretically, to have Haaland, Jesus, Salah, Rashford, Sterling and Saka. I am already starting to wonder how you combine these players together into a coherent formation in a Football Manager save, but that feels like a problem for Football Manager Kev. FPL Kev is pretty happy with what there is not a central midfielder in the squad. Hang on, let's jump over to Football Manager. I've already put them in. Let's have a look to see how things line up. So first things first, as you can see, we are playing on an updated database. You've got Luton there in the Premier League, so this is up to date as of the time of recording, including up-to-date transfers as well. So, although Granit Xhaka's still there at us. In fact, I don't think he is. I think that's just a Football Manager legacy thing. He's still showing as vice-captain, but he's actually not at the club. But you can see the likes of Declan Rice, Timber, Havertz have all got into Arsenal. The transfers are up to date and done. I don't want to. I think picking on one particular Premier League club in all my videos, that's such a last season thing to do. So we're not going to name names about which team I've removed from the Premier League. I think that's a little harsh. I just got rid of the one that I figured we'd miss the least. And we don't need to dwell on who they were. And this, forget the kits, poorly timed. So this is my squad. Now, obviously, we do have to bear in mind FPL squads only have 15 players in them. So we are a little bit light, and that probably is going to have an impact as the season goes on. The game has added a bunch of greyed out players. I suspect they're not going to be used. If we see Quincy Grandison, 16 years old and greyed out, playing a lot of football for LOLLUJO FPL this year, I would be a little bit surprised. I'm also a little bit alarmed that the game thinks 2 of the players I've selected are so poor that it's just put them down in the under-21 squad rather than in the first team squad. So that's alarming. 13 first team players. Hopefully those 2 do get moved up to the first team squad when it becomes apparent they're needed. And they will be needed because obviously 13 players isn't enough. And also we are missing players in some key positions. For example, nowhere in my FPL do we have a central midfielder. So some of the many attacking players that we've got knocking around the place, several of them are going to have to learn to play central midfield. You would think we can just about put together a back 4, which is a nice little novelty. I mean, we are going to have to play one of our many left backs out of position at right back, but at least we've got 2 centre backs, which there have been plenty of years of FPL in the past where this would just be full backs. So having 2 centre backs in there is delightful. My goalkeeper situation isn't particularly inspiring. We'll see how those boys get on. But of course, the big strength of this squad is how good we're going to be going forward. If the manager, because I'm not going to manage them, I'll just leave them to do their thing. We're going to holiday forward in a second. But if the manager manages to find a way to combine these 4 players all in the same team and outscore opposition, this could be a fun season for LOLLUJO FPL. If we have a look at the media prediction, the media think we're looking at a 7th place finish, but we do have 3 players in the media Dream 11, Haaland, Salah and Sterling, and Haaland and Salah are 2 of the top 3 players in the Premier League. Certainly going forward, this team has its strengths. I don't know if the complete lack of a midfield and the slightly iffy defence and goalkeeper are going to balance that out. I guess there's only one way to find out. Let's simulate forward a season and see what happened. So we have moved a year forward into the future. Then let's have a look to see how, my word. Okay. So what I mean, oh, well, I'll level with you. Was expecting mid-table. How overpowered are attackers in Football Manager? My word. In fact, the season isn't even finished. We've got one more. There's one more game. They could win the league. And they didn't. But goodness me, look how close they came. 1 point behind Liverpool, who they played on the final day of the season at Anfield. It was a 2-2 draw on the final day of the season. I mean, a goal away from winning the Premier League. It is quite interesting as well that they seem to have gone out and signed a load of players, which I guess that's only to be expected. But the attacking players that we had, obviously absolutely crucial. So Ange Postecoglou has gone out and spent £52 million to bring in a goalkeeper, a couple of goalkeepers, and some midfielders. I mean, it's not as if he's gone out and spent crazy money on real top tier ones. It's been very much just getting bodies through the door. I think if you were looking to build a Premier League winning team, I don't know that selection of signings would inspire you to think, oh yeah, absolutely, this team's going to win the Premier League. Clearly, that is just... They've effectively just put some real bodies behind the greyed out players that we had there before. But I mean, I'm flabbergasted. Let's have a look at what's actually gone on in this squad, because it's sensational how well they've done. I mean, it's obviously the Erling Haaland effect is a big thing. It would be interesting to see the difference Erling Haaland would make just being at any club. And that front three of Haaland, Salah and Sterling seems to have absolutely ripped the Premier League apart. I mean, Haaland, 34 goal contributions, Salah, 23, Sterling, 22. It does mean Bukayo Saka's had to play the entire season at left back by the looks of him, which is, I mean, it's feels like an underutilization of him, but I guess, especially considering how many other left backs we had in this squad, but he seems to have had a lovely old time. Poor old Gabriel Jesus, only 7 starts and 4 goals, but he was never going to get in ahead of those 4, I guess. Cameron Archer playing nearly as many times as Jesus did. Marcus Rashford, I guess, is the man who suffered the most from the way we've lined up. I expected that someone like Rashford, who maybe doesn't get into that front 3, front 4, I perhaps would have done with the players at my disposal. I'm a little bit surprised that he hasn't been converted into a central midfielder just to get him in the team, because obviously his quality as a player is much higher than, I don't know, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who's come in on a free transfer and played 26 times. I probably would have forced Rashford into that position some way, somehow. But interesting to see that the AI has just decided, nah, we're just not going to use him. He can be he can be like third reserve in that position, which is absolutely bonkers. Then we get some of the players that have been brought in on free transfers, a couple of defenders, a couple of midfielders. Obviously a goalkeeper came in as well, and a right back, or a couple of right backs were needed because there was no right back at all in the squad. And then we look at players who I've drafted but maybe haven't done particularly well. I mean, the likes of Sergio Gomez, Amari Bell, these are players that I expected to be my backup players anyway. I'm surprised to see Sven Botman play as little as he did. Although I guess 30 appearances, only 17 of them were starts though. And it's not because of injury. He's literally just been replaced, I guess, by Paulista has come in and replaced him at the back. Gabriel's played a full season. Handanovic, of course, coming in, playing a full season as well. But yeah, I am very shocked. I mean, I know sometimes we have these discussions about how player managed teams outperform the AI. That's why I didn't touch the team. At no point was I the manager of this club. We can have a look at the manager history. It was just left with Postecoglou in charge. And yeah, they've finished I mean, they've come this close. This close. My FPL, this is how good. I'm going to win FPL this year. My FPL team has come this close to winning the Premier League with just a couple of journeymen plugging some of the positional gaps. That's not how I expected this to... Football Manager experiments are fun. Who knew? And of course, the other thing that's fun is playing FPL against other members of our little community that we've got here on the channel. So I mentioned it at the start. I'll mention it again now. I do have the LOLLUJO League, which, as you can see, already has, I mean, pages upon pages of people in. There's a lot of people in this league already. But if you want to join that number, there's your code right there. Chris, make it do something else fancy. I loved it when it spun before. Make it do something different. Maybe it could bounce around the screen like a little bunny rabbit. Is he doing any of this? I'm probably not going to watch it. I won't know if he's done any of this stuff. Let me know down in the comments if Chris is behaving himself. But that's your invite code to join my FPL League. And we are going to do prizes this year. I've run this league for the last couple of years, but more recently I've started to take FPL a little more seriously. I was actually making changes to my team in game week 38 last year. I was rubbish. We didn't finish very highly at all, but we're not going to worry about that. We're going to worry about the fact I'm going to win this year. Football Manager has just proven it. And we're going to do a prize. So if you win my FPL League this year, I will provide you with a Premier League football shirt of your choice. For next season's shirts, obviously, unless you want this season just gone as shirts. But yeah, you'll be able to choose which club you want a shirt for if you win. So yeah, that'll just be a cool little extra prize. We might throw a copy of Football Manager in for second place as well, because why not? But yeah, that's FPL, and that's how my FPL team would do in the Premier League. You don't need a midfield. You don't need any defenders. If you're planning a Football Manager save at the moment, just bear in mind, all you need to do is sign all of the best attackers, and that is officially your route to success. They had the front three in the Dream 11, and believe it or not, having the front three in the Dream 11 means you very nearly win the Premier League. And with a proper midfield, they would have won it at an absolute canter. 4 players now in the Premier League. Saka's made it in as a defender. I don't like this universe at all. But if you have enjoyed that video, and especially if you'd like to see more stuff like this, more of the one-off videos, experimental stuff on the channel, please leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me, and let me know down in the comments section what other experiments you would like to see. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Make sure you check out my current series where I'm managing Home FC in Benidorm, and it's awesome. And thank you very much for watching.